In 2021, a new chapter was being written in the annals of digital history. Digital assets verified on blockchain were being sold for millions of dollars. I am talking about non-fungible tokens or NFTs.
NFTs.
NFT.
2021, the year of NFTs. They were everywhere, redefining the art world and making people money.
$69 million.
People making a lot of money.
You can really make some money with NFTs.
NFTs give buyers proof of ownership and authenticity of the digital asset. They're linked to an image, a video, or a music clip, which gives NFT its value. But first, let me go back to the moment where it all began.
21 is when, in March, the whole NFT bull run sort of took off with like Meta Cohen, who's, Indian origin entrepreneur who bid ridiculous amounts on people's artwork. That is 69 million. Right. And that's when it sort of went mainstream and you had all this wave of creators coming in. After creators, the brands came in.
That was NFT artist Cyber Shakti. She is talking about a collage of 5,000 images that was bought by an Indian origin entrepreneur for $69.3 million, making it one of the most expensive NFT ever sold. This particular moment set into motion a frenzy for NFTs globally. On the face, it seemed like another get-rich-quick-in-a-minute kind of a crypto scheme. The FOMO-driven craze peaked when NFTs worth $23 billion were traded in 2021, according to the market tracker DappRadar. Perhaps another baby of the pandemic and free money era, NFTs became an inescapable part of the internet culture.
Many of you know Mia Kunis from That 70s Show and the voice of Meg on The Family Guy. She's diving into the crypto rabbit hole, launching her own brand of NFTs called Stoner Cats.
We are now going to talk about Big B's NFT, which has broken all records. It sold for a whopping 7.18 crore.
सलमान खान बॉली कॉइन के साथ मिलकर अपना NFT कलेक्शन ला रहे हैं.
From Hollywood stars like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis to Amitabh Bachchan and cricketer Parthiv Patel, everyone was in the market to monetize their brand with NFTs. After all, these celebrities had little at stake, and the upside was enormous as we were bang in the middle of a bull run in the crypto market. Buyers snapped up these digital assets either for exclusive access to communities or with the perception that they were investing in early Monets and Picassos. 38-year-old NFT collector Mike Blue from Bengaluru had similar reasons.
From those, the initial days where he created, and those were the most popular, the earliest ones, right? And it made sense, at least from the perspective of owning something as valuable as, Amitabh Bachchan's NFTs. Eventually, it could also, gain in value at one point where, when the secondary markets become a lot more active and Indian markets start shining and people start accepting NFTs.
But much like the broader crypto market, NFT trading volumes at one point dropped about 90% from their peak. The effect of the implosion of multiple crypto institutions was felt in the NFT market as well. About half a dozen NFT marketplaces and projects have either shut down or seen their trading volumes evaporate entirely. Once India's largest NFT marketplace, Wazirex, closed in February this year. In its parting note, the company shared how it made $6 in platform fee that month. The super short history of NFTs has been chaotic to say the least. From the heights of hype to a bone-rattling decline in the wake of a crypto shakedown, a quiet realization is setting in. A realization that NFTs without actual utilities and benefits could be meaningless. But are entrepreneurs putting in way too much weight into utilities? Is it another case of a solution looking for a problem to solve? To unpack what went wrong with NFTs in India and whether that will change in times to come, we will speak to an artist, a collector, and founders who have dipped their toes and learned their lessons. Surprisingly, all of them are here to stay. Friday, 26th of May. I'm Apurva Mittal, and you are listening to Is the NFT Fad Dead? Only on The Morning Brief. Before the celebrity wave hit the NFT market in India, which ultimately crashed and burned, NFTs were thought to bring in a new world order for art and artists, including lifetime royalties on subsequent sale of their artwork.
All the challenges that I was facing as a digital artist, like I was a corporate employee and I had recently just been laid off. And, while I did manage to get another job in time and stuff like that, but, that whole layoff sort of made me realign what my vision for my life was.
That is NFT artist and entrepreneur Cyber Shakti again. Her NFT artwork was recently displayed and sold by the storied auction house Sotheby's.
So I was actually looking for avenues to sort of showcase my artwork. And I started reaching out to galleries in India where I faced a lot of gatekeeping. Then I reached out to galleries abroad. But then there were issues of provenance. There were issues of, will my art be in the right hands? Because ultimately, as a digital artist, I only have files that I can share. And once the original file is shared with external parties, I don't know what they'll do with it, right? So I know at any given point of time who owns my NFT and how much they've paid. And of course, there's royalties that were alluring at that point in time. So as soon as I heard about NFTs, I got started in about a week, and that's how sort of Cyber Shakti was born.
A couple of points. So, what makes an NFT valuable? Because to an outsider, it may feel like you said speculation and a digital asset that's constantly driven by the whims of the market. And evaluating art can be so difficult in itself.
You are absolutely right. It is scary. NFTs can actually be overwhelming because they're like wild, wild west, right? Right out of nowhere, a project that nobody knew will pump overnight, and then suddenly it'll become like a blue chip and everybody will want to get a piece of it, right? I think while speculation will sort of continue to be a part of it, there is no sort of defined framework, but there is like a loose guideline that I can share from my time here. So how I would see NFT value is actually, say, the creator or the brand that's putting it out, right? Another factor that you can consider is the ownership history. For example, market validation. So who are the kind of collectors who've sort of held certain NFT? What is the ownership history or history of transfer been? If whale collector or if a credible collector has held a certain NFT, that sort of drives up its value. Also, there is a play of liquidity premium because we know how illiquid NFTs can be, right? So, for example, if I know that there will be a certain threshold that will always be fulfilled, in the sense, if I have a good liquidity premium on an NFT, it will continue to hold value. And in NFT trader terms, this is called floor price.
Floor price basically means the minimum selling price of the NFT. When it comes to art and NFTs, the jury is still out on how much NFTs have revolutionized art and artists.
We need to understand that any revolution, right, it takes a generation for the outcome to be really known. We still need to understand that this is the second or the third year of this technology sort of coming into mainstream play. So it will take time to sort of determine what the outcomes are. Like, for example, for the last 2 years, we saw that art sales was sort of in decline and, PFP projects were taking over. But I would actually like to point out that this week, Sotheby's had another sale. Right after my exhibition and auction, there was another lineup that was announced, and that was called NFT Grails. And in this NFT Grails, first ever pieces of generative art were auctioned. And that sort of has kicked off the whole wave of art NFTs once again.
In India, we've seen the NFT wave play out very differently, right? So there were a bunch of celebrity projects, there were a bunch of projects led by, cricketer NFTs. You started when the hype was just about building up. Do you think FOMO saturated the NFT market in India?
Yeah, you can say that. In the sense, everybody sort of, dived into the promise of life changing money. And while it was great that Indian projects dived into NFTs and tried to sort of, tokenize culturally relevant celebrities and their art drops, but the market was just not ready. We didn't have the education and we still don't have regulatory clarity. And in India, we don't have a collector mindset. So that sort of worked against everything, and which is why the projects never saw the success that they had set out to achieve.
Success or not, some buyers bought into the hype and lapped up celebrity NFTs. Let's go back to Mike Blue, aka Ramesh Gopal, who is a blockchain developer based in Bengaluru. He bought the NFT poster of Amitabh Bachchan's cult classic movie Diwar, and also a sketch of a couture piece that designer Manish Malhotra had made for actor Kareena Kapoor Khan. His collection is actually more than 400 NFTs. By the way, before 2021, he was not an art collector.
To be honest, I think all the NFTs that I bought at that point of time, hardly any of them right now is at a profit stage because of the market in India has gone down very badly. And internationally as well, there was a decent boom initially when NFTs launched, but then the market went down quite a bit.
So, one question I had, Ramesh, is do you think the NFTs that you bought, especially from Indian projects, do you think they lived up to your expectation, not a monetary value, but what you expected and how you expected the project to fare?
To be honest, due to a lot of issues in the current system itself, right? One, I think Web3 is not accepted in the Indian market yet. And there's a lot of legal things that needs to be considered before people start investing in NFTs. But apart from that, I haven't appreciated what the celebrities have done launching some NFT projects, especially, the big ones. Because everyone who came in just for the fun of it, they created and then they disappeared. I mean, even some of the projects that I really thought would do well, and I think a lot of these projects, ended up failing completely because they hardly understood the whole NFT Web3 space. So there are very few projects that have actually done well, especially the ones in the international space. So they have a fantastic community backing them up, and that's what I expected from Indian, projects. And probably very few lived up to that expectations.
Right. So you're saying that celebrities got excited by the NFT fad, minted a few tokens, made some money, and then just left the community.
Disappeared, yeah, man. I think a lot of the collectors that I knew as well were not happy with any of these projects as well. To be honest, even the Amitabh Bachchan one, initially people were so excited about the whole project, but then everyone right now just owns the NFT. I don't think anyone has even promoted the NFT. There's hardly any secondary sales in the in the marketplace that they built. So it still feels like a rug pull where people have not been. No, they expected a lot, but it has not been delivered.
To be fair, these celebrity NFT projects never really promised anything beyond the artwork itself. As a collector, what are some of the aspects that you're going to value in NFTs going forward?
So the reason I collect NFTs specifically is for multiple reasons. One, to support the artist, and every NFT that I collected, right, it has a memory behind it. So I remember having a chat with the creators. I remember the time when I collected it. I remember appreciated feeling that community sense, and also just for the rights, the bragging rights. For example, Manish Malhotra's NFTs. So those were NFTs that are really valued because it had the limited, the rare, some of the NFTs that you don't easily get, and that matters a lot. And I sometimes collect NFTs just for the financial aspect of it, where I see the price appreciating in value in a couple of years, or down the line when NFTs will start gaining some value, so I can make back some money financially as well. Yes.
Market watchers say that NFTs are undergoing a natural cycle of contraction. This, of course, they say, will turn around once two fundamental things are addressed: long-term utility of NFT use cases and liquidity in the market. We spoke to Kameshwaran Elangovan, co-founder of Guardian Link, the company behind Amitabh Bachchan's NFTs. By the way, all of AB's 5,000 NFTs were sold to mostly Indian buyers for about $1 million. However, the company realized the limited reach of non-utility celebrity NFTs and has now shifted its focus to NFTs that can be used in-game as assets. Tell me something. What about the investors and collectors who placed trust into these marketplaces and celebrity NFTs? And now these marketplaces have either shut down because of the market conditions, and the NFTs are not worth much.
That's a good thing which I can able to explain. That is the beauty of NFT. For example, if you buy a particular digital asset, NFTs are more like a cryptos, right? Even marketplaces can shut down. It is not going to give an impact to the NFT buyer, right? He can just take the NFTs and keep it in own wallet. Like MetaMask wallet or many other wallet are available in the market. So people can just take out the asset and keep it in MetaMask wallet. Wherever they can and they want to sell, they can connect and sell it. That is the way NFT world was working right now. If you buy NFTs from us, you can export it. And then if you want to list it somewhere like OpenSea or Rarible or anywhere, so you can go and list it and sell it there. So so that is the way right now industry working. So it is not like a Web2, right? If you bought something, imagine if YouTube or TikTok got shut down, people lost their own content, right? There is no, every video can be NFT, so people can own the NFTs. When any other platform they want to import that, they should have imported, right? That kind of functionalities are not available. They simply shut down. That's it. The entire creator got impacted. Now, in this case, investors and creators will not have a bigger impact, even though application went down. Because they can take it also list it somewhere and start selling it. If they whatever NFTs which they bought is valuable, then it is going to be valuable. It's not going to impact
Exactly.
because of the platform. That is what I'm trying to say.
But Kamesh, one thing with celebrity NFTs is despite films and actors having like a godlike status in our country, the consensus among investors and the collectors is that celebrity collections were not successful in India. Do you agree with that? And what is your thought process on the deluge of celebrity NFTs that we saw in the market? But many of those marketplaces have either shut shop or the projects are in complete limbo.
Yeah, it is a kind of a very initial stage, no? Right? This is something, you can see the very similar journey in Bitcoin too, right? A lot of adoption and government got into some kind of disruption. So NFTs are, I would say, in a more like an 2013, 12 Bitcoin kind of stage. It's a very initial that people are getting into the awareness about NFTs, and then people have. I strongly feel celebrity always are celebrities. Yeah, so whatever from celebrity, people buy it. Right, it is not only licensed in India, so across the world. Yes, I don't think celebrity NFT craze is done or something. We can't say that. So still celebrity NFTs are craze, but always building utility also on top of celebrity NFTs. For example, if you are trying to sell some celebrity NFT, it should not be only profile picture NFTs, right? So we can also build some more utility on top of it, right? It can act as an access pass that they can get some kind of privileges, or else that kind of NFTs that can bring into the gameplay, so people can play using that particular avatar, right? So that is something also possibility that we are really, whenever we launch NFTs, we always try to pack some additional utility on top of it. So that is the way what I'm trying to say. Right? The celebrity NFTs are going to be definitely crazy still, but long-term retradability is going to happen if we pack a utility on top of celebrity NFT. It is going to be future.
But in terms of the price, in tune with the crypto market, NFTs are down by 70 to 80% in their value. Do you think the prices of NFTs will always move in tandem with the way crypto market is behaving, or do you think they'll ever be able to separate from each other?
Yeah, it's a good, interesting point. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to separate from the crypto market, because if you take example, the gaming in-game assets, right? Already many people have started buying in the world is the two things which you used to buy online. One is domains, right? Which is a digital asset that, for a very long time, people love to own and buy the domains and retrade the domains, right? It's a kind of NFT, but not properly mentioned as NFT, right? And then the second option, what people used to invest on gaming, right? People used to buy guns and skins inside the gameplay as a digital asset, which can naturally act as NFTs. And so if you have in-game assets, people love to trade the in-game assets and everything. So we're really trying to disconnect, crypto world from NFT. But unfortunately, right now the crypto market goes up, naturally NFT market is also going up. And the liquidity for these NFTs are naturally able to accumulate through crypto profits. That is the way right now the industry is. But we as much of more gaming NFTs getting into the picture, so naturally the situation will change.
Ever since the company shifted its focus from selling celebrity memorabilia as NFTs to in-game assets, it has seen its India market grow to 60,000 active users. Kamesh, however, feels that going ahead, their focus will shift to the US, which offers a bigger market opportunity. Indian NFT holders and companies weathered not just market fluctuations and speculative projects, but they also had their first brush with regulators when new virtual digital asset norms were introduced in 2022. As per the latest guidelines, VDAs, which include NFTs, will be taxed 30% on profit, and a 1% tax will be deducted at source on each trade. This was a huge blow to the crypto market at large. But the NFT players ever since have tried to detangle themselves from crypto, which they think gives NFTs a bad rep. We spoke to Ankit Vadwa, founder of cricket NFT marketplace Rario, to talk about regulations and the future of the technology in India. So, Ankit, I want to start with the virtual digital asset guidelines that came up in April 2022, which impacted NFTs as well, with 30% tax on profits and 1% EDS. So, could you start with the initial impact of those VDA guidelines on NFT industry and the collector mindset?
The biggest challenge we faced in the NFT sector as a consequence was that we were somehow subsumed under the overall header of crypto. So while cryptocurrencies are more akin to money, NFTs are more akin to assets like the house that you have or cards of players that we sort of run in radio. Now, this clubbing kind of got everybody to look at us with the same lens. Typically, the way you would expect things to grow in a new sector is you would go from the phase of incubation to regulation to taxation. For us, unfortunately, because of the clubbing, it went straight to taxation. But I think a lot has happened since then. The overall understanding in the ecosystem is very different today versus where it was last year. What I see in a lot of conversations in the regulatory ecosystem now is also that they are much clearer that NFTs are solving for very different use cases versus cryptocurrencies. So hopefully that will also take shape in the form of regulations in the near future.
Yeah, and I will ask you about that in a minute, but can we talk a little bit about the collector mindset and how did it impact collectors and how has the market changed in the last 1 year?
I think from a utility standpoint, so when you don't think of this as an investment asset, which was in sync with the thinking from last year and before that, but when you start thinking of these assets as something that I would buy that allows me to participate in a game or a utility or gives me some rewards as a consequence, like a loyalty program or is a digital version of a ticket, I think in those use cases, users are very much engaging with the product, right? But when it comes to a pure collector's item, that definitely had a change of perspective for the users when the taxation regulation came in, which will happen for any category which is subject to certain taxation. I think the ecosystem and people and users have also figured out that this is not just about windfall returns. This is about a new asset category that is creating and different things that different players can do alongside that. I think that reality of how the NFT technology and therefore assets can be used has now pretty much dawned upon the ecosystem, and the new developments are all in this direction.
So, Ankit, I mean, people have bought, tickets, they've had membership clubs, all of this has existed for many, many years. It gives a sense that NFTs are another product of Web3 where you're trying to find a problem to a solution. What do you think about that?
That's an interesting framing. And, a lot of what was happening with the noise that was created last year was exactly that. A lot of people were creating hammers, looking for a nail problem to solve, but we have to create an NFT. But look, that has changed. I think the businesses that have done well are the ones who've looked at a user problem first or a user need first and then said, how does this technology benefit that, and therefore utilize it. We know from the Indian Premier League as well, right? Like the tickets were sold out in minutes and hours for several of the stadiums. Now, not everybody is able to go and attend. There are people who want last minute tickets. I mean, that's a very real use case that gets solved by having this as an individual asset that can be traded on an online marketplace.
Right.
So again, where you have a real use case, when you're coming user back in your thinking, the business and the product would work. But when you're going technology forward, that look, I've got this technology and now I want to use it for anything and everything. So a lot of those thoughts have subsided over time.
What is the industry's, the NFT players' expectation from the government and your pitch to the lawmakers for NFTs as they're thinking about regulations in the future?
I know of several companies in Singapore and in other geographies in the world that have gotten some sort of sandbox support from regulators saying that, okay, we'll create a regulatory sandbox for you.
Yeah.
You can be in the sandbox, grow. We will figure out how the sector is growing along with your growth, but you will be monitored quite closely. So the regulations and your growth kind of go hand in hand as opposed to working in different silos. I mean, a sandbox approach could be something that could be experimented with. There are some examples of this happening already, and I'm expecting this to become more ever present, right? Telangana, for instance, has stepped into the Web3 play and said, we are going to support businesses in our zone, where new ideas can come up and flourish. And I think more and more regulators and government bodies will move in that direction. And I think the important thing that has happened in the last 1 year is that delinking of NFT is basically crypto, or NFT cannot operate without crypto. That delinking has, I would say, started happening. I mean, if everybody is looked at with the same lens that, look, this can cause financial fraud. The sector is not bad, but then, if you've created the right kind of guardrails, then you can operate within those. And I think that's the biggest ask and expectation. And I definitely do see a movement in that direction in the thought process of regulators as well. It has taken time to delink NFTs from crypto. And, a lot of the thinking was also that you cannot even transact in NFTs without cryptocurrency. But models like ours at Radio and a few others have emerged where businesses have created an NFT ecosystem because these are assets, but the payments happen in traditional UPI and credit debit card mechanisms, right, which are fully controlled and monitored, to avoid any kind of frauds. So we've created that model. And more businesses will create those models. And as long as that support is available to businesses, I mean, it will create that ecosystem. And I'm beginning to see that happen. I mean, it's a journey, right? Like a new category getting created always goes through this journey.
Got it. Do you think attaching benefits and use cases and utilities to NFTs will redeem them?
I mean, again, as I said, it's not about redemption of NFTs. It's a question of what use case you're creating.
Right.
In our case, the engagement with we are solving for cricket fans' engagement with cricket. So as long as you're solving for the user story, then the business will work. And if the business is best works with NFT as a technology, then NFTs will also work.
What started as an online revolution has also seeped into the offline world. About a month ago, I visited India's first members-only NFT club in the heart of Bengaluru. All you have to do is own their token to access the space. It is a residential apartment and has digital posters of member-owned NFTs like Bored Apes played on the walls. There's a 24/7 chef to make you Maggie and workstations for you to go all day long. But more than that, it offers access to a community with similar interests. And communities are at the heart of what a lot of Web3 is about. A recent survey on consumer behavior and NFTs found that 92% of respondents saw an advantage in having NFTs that can provide them with benefits. 61% thought it was one of the two of the most important considerations. And the industry in India seems to have finally caught up to this need. Sports-focused NFTs and in-game assets have found a footing with an audience here. And beyond art and games, founders and investors also believe a wide spectrum of use cases will come up using NFTs. It remains to be seen how this technology, which offers an indestructible proof of ownership, will be used in times to come. Whatever the future may hold, players of the NFT game are here to stay.
As people who consistently make NFTs, I am still here, standing regardless of whatever the conditions are. And I think it does pay off, right? Like the kind of opportunity that opened up for me, for example, being at Sotheby's, would that have happened to a corporate employee who was not a full-time artist in, say, like 3 years?
Probably not. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. I'm your host, Apurva Mittal, and you've been listening to Is the NFT Fad Dead? On the Morning Brief. This episode was produced by Sumit Pandey. Our sound designer is Rajas Nayak. Our executive producers are Anupriya Nair, Anirban Chaudhary, and Arijit Burman. Do listen, like, and share this episode on your favorite streaming platforms. The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, and Google Podcasts, as well as JioSaavn. Do tune into ET Play, our latest platform for all audio content, including the Morning Brief. Thank you for listening and have a good weekend ahead. All external sound clips used in this episode belong to their respective owners. Credits are mentioned in the description.